Hi, I'm Chris Albrecht, and I wanted to just let you know a little bit about the two ear classes that are going to be offered in the next couple months. And we have had a few questions about which is which and what's involved, and have I already seen this before? So just to kind of let you know what's happening with that. On, let's see, July 19th, Ayelet is going to be teaching the ear, what we call the foundational, the original ear class. And it's wonderful. It's a compilation of all of these techniques to open up the temporal complex and the ears to be able to get to those structures. And I mean, there's compression syndromes, there's blood flow, there's neural tension, but there's also a couple of other things that are quite wonderful in it. First, there's a discussion about the landmarks of the ear and then using those landmarks to get to the deeper structures. So for instance, if you know that you can go to a particular place on the ear and that's an access point to get to the cochlea, you can be so much more successful and it's so much easier to actually palpate at that level. So she will talk about that and about mobility testing the different structures to find out which is the most restricted and which would we like to help support. There's also some wonderful information in there, for instance, about tinnitus and the origin of tinnitus coming from a medially subluxed vestibular mechanism. And how do you get to that? How do you open that up? And when that vestibular mechanism is medially subluxed, that actually has a governing effect throughout the body and really can keep things from opening up all the way through, especially if you have neurodivergent cases, if you have somebody with autism or on the spectrum, or if you just have an individual that is very compressed. Opening up that vestibular mechanism can help you get to all the other areas. There's also information on dizziness and what the origin of that is, working with the middle cerebral arteries. And there's also some information on grounding, like how to not feel like you're walking on clouds, and just some wonderful ways to get to things that can be so problematic, like vertigo, and working with asymmetry in the semicircular canals. So a lot of information in that class, a wonderful way, if you haven't had it before, to get a whole lot of information at once. And it is also going to be a prerequisite for the second class, the advanced ear class. So I am going to teach on August 23rd an advanced class having to do with the ear and hearing and dysfunctions with hearing. And so we're going to take that information that you learned and became familiar with from the foundational ear class. And one of the first things that we're going to do is a guided tour of the ear. Now, if you know me, you know I love a good tour. And I think in another life, I was a tour guide. So it's like, if I can do an anatomical tour, I'm all about that. So we're going to go section by section through the ear together so you can feel these different structures. And the beautiful thing about that is it lets you know when the mapping changes, then you know, okay, there's a problem here. And if you're methodical about what you're doing and how you're going through step by step, then you'll feel it change. And you're like, does it really do that? It really does. And as you're going through step by step, you can feel it. And then we're going to have wonderful techniques like type 1s, differentiators, blood flow, neural tension, specific to the inner ear and the cochlea and the vestibular mechanisms and some of these really deep structures and how to get clearance in the eustachian tubes and just opening up some of these things that can really be problematic. Now, as well, in that second class, we're going to take a look at where things go wrong. So, and maybe it's time of life, maybe it's focus, but seems like an awful lot of folks are having issues with hearing, and that can take many forms. So we're going to look at where is it coming from? Is it a problem in conduction of the sound waves? Is it a problem in the nerve being able to pick up the impulse? Is it a problem in the connection between the glymphatic system, central nervous system drainage, and the cochlea? And how can we best support that? And we're going to have a lot of strategies for that. A few other things too. We're just going to look at tinnitus, hyperacusis, Meniere's disease, some of these pathologies, and say, okay, what's going on with this? So how can we support the structure? And as we know, the more we support the structure, the more flexibility the structure has, then we can upgrade the function to the extent that that system will hold it. I also want to talk in the advanced ear class a little bit about the interplay between hearing, sensory integration, and consciousness, and literally how we create our reality based on the information that we're bringing in. And some of you may know that I actually lost my hearing a couple of years ago, and nothing like a good, personal trauma to really get you to focus on something. So it was very interesting to be able to track, and a blessing to be able to have that brain knowledge, but to be able to track what was going on and how it fit together. And I'd really love to share that with you and talk some about that. It took a while to put this class together because really trying to figure out, is this a consciousness class? Is this an ear class? And the question is, it's a bridge. We did talk about whether we were going to teach a consciousness class first, but with this, it really seems to make sense to be able to, as we always do, upgrade the receptors, the ear, bringing together the sensory input, and then look at how that helps us to really put together and form our consciousness. So I look forward to sharing this with you. I hope that we all get together soon. And thank you so much for your attention. Thanks. Bye.